بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. We continue reading from Imam Al-Ghazali's Jawah al-Quran with the Jews with Quran spares. We are done reading the Imam Al-Ghazali's selection from Surah Hud, and Imam Al-Ghazali skipped Surah Yusuf altogether, and he moved to Surah Al-Ra'd, from which he chose 8 verses. Nevertheless, we do have Surah Yusuf. I don't know, of course, why Imam Ghazali did not include anything from Surah Yusuf alayhi salam, and you will the story of Surah Yusuf alayhi salam is about in fact, it's the only chapter in the Quran that has such a story from the beginning to the end of the surah. Meaning that you have a beginning of the story, you have, one might say, the climax, maybe more than one, and the end. It begins with a vision, but of course we'll read a little bit, because there's an important beginning before immediately moving into Yusuf alayhi salam and reporting, telling his father about his vision. In that vision, he saw the sun, the moon, and 11 planets prostrating before him. Prostrating, it seems that this was their way of greeting each other at the time. This is not worship, of course. And his father told him, who's a prophet, alayhi salam, Prophet Yaqub alayhi salam, Jacob, told him not to inform his brothers. It means that he understood this vision, the nature of this vision, and nevertheless, his brothers were already jealous of him, believing that his father favored him. Their father, they were brothers, 10 and 2. They were brothers, and they were maternal cousins, because Yaqub alayhi salam married 2 sisters. It's a different story. And they plotted against their brother. They wanted to kill Yusuf alayhi salam, but one of them suggested not to, and he suggested just leaving him in a well of water, obviously away from where their family stayed. And where they stayed, they were Bedouins. Verse 100 of Surah Yusuf alayhi salam, when they reunite together, there are many issues, events in between, but when they reunite, Yusuf alayhi salam will be like a minister responsible for the economy. In fact, saving Egypt There were 7 years of famine, but they were preceded by 7 years of. That's also another vision that he saw in jail, but he was in jail because of a false accusation. And despite the fact that they found that he was innocent, they nevertheless kept him in jail for a few years. And so they were united. Yusuf alayhi salam praised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for getting him out of prison, for reuniting them, for bringing them from that state of being Bedouin. وَجَاءَ بِكُمُ الْبَدْوُ. This is for Surah Yusuf, verse 100. جاء بكم البدو. I wrote an article about this once. The Bedouins do not leave behind much. So if you're an archaeologist and you're looking for something, what could you find? Burnt stones, like the Arab poet who spoke about الثافية سعفا, talking about the stones that were burnt, and they move from one place to the other. Once their animals graze and there's no more grass, they move from one place to the other. So they were Bedouins. No archaeology, no cities, no towns, no villages even. Very simple, nomadic life. I'm saying this because in the part of the ideological narrative, the Zionist archaeological narrative, is that they try to create facts, archaeological facts. There are say objective archaeologists, professional archaeologists amongst the Israeli Jews, and I'm going to mention one of them. Even when we talk about subsequent generations of Jews after the Israelites left Egypt, we talk about Exodus. One of the archaeologists is Israel Finkelstein from Tel Aviv University. They found Khirbe. Palestine is full with dotted with these sites, and there is one in to the west of Jerusalem called Khirbet Qiyafa. Some people started suggesting that King David, meaning Prophet David, Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam, visited this place, suggested. If you listen to and you read exactly what they say, they might say, this archaeologist believes, this archaeologist thinks he might have, but Professor, the archaeologist Finkelstein, he said it could have been built by the Philistines, the Canaanites, or other peoples in the area. I remember that the oldest agricultural settlement around anywhere in the world is Jericho itself, and it's 12,000 years old. So وَجَاءَ بِكُمُ الْبَدْوُ is a very important statement about their civilizational state. Being Bedouin is not a sin. Being Bedouin is not a problem, but it does mean that they did not have an elaborate way of life. Very simple. Tents and animals, and moving from one place to the other. The other issue in Surah Yusuf alayhi salam. In the hadith, Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was described as being given Shatr al-Husn, practically half of beauty. He was very handsome. So when the caravan found him in the well, of course his brothers went home and they claimed to their father that they competed with each other, they raced, and a wolf came and he ate Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. The response of Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam is that he told them that you have plotted something. So he'd not accept. Of course, he knows better. He's a prophet, and that's a very serious problem when you try to deceive a prophet. He systematically asked them time and again to keep looking for Yusuf alayhi salam. At any rate, so the caravan found him in the well. They said, "هذا غلام." He was a lad. He was a boy. And he was sold بثمن بخس, really, for a very cheap price. And I like the statement by one of the Muslim scholars who said, "Where any price in the world would have been below his value anyhow, alayhi salam, the family that bought him was the family of a ruler, a governor in Egypt. He told his wife that they could take him as a son, or he could be of help, meaning that when he gets older, when he matures, but when he did mature and became a man, the lady, that woman, tried to tempt him. She did take action, and he didn't. Now the language in the Qur'an, وَلَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَن رَأَىٰ بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. The second part, we'll get back to the second part, inshallah. So she advanced towards him. She did take a move, and he did not advance. He would have done likewise if he were if he did not really see a sign from his Lord. لولا أن رأى برهان ربه. Okay. Now, لولا حرف امتناع لوجود. Let's read it. ولقد همت به. Okay, that is done. And we can read this. We don't read this as Quran. We read this grammatically now. لولا أن رأى برهان ربه لهم بها. That's the meaning. Had he not seen a sign from his Lord, he would have advanced. He would have had, an inclination towards her. The second part of this verse, the Quran says, this is how we kept evil and indecency away from him. كذلك نصرف عنه السوء والفحشاء. for he was truly one of our chosen servants. Let me say he was إنه من عبادنا المخلصين. I would like to keep the Arabic. Just keep even if you don't know Arabic, if you are listening, just remember how it sounds. إنه من عبادنا المخلصين. Go to Surah Sad and the story of Satan, how he took pride in himself and refused to obey God's command to prostrate before Adam alayhi salam. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him why he did not prostrate, this is the first racist incident in, we don't say in human history because it involves Satan, we say in existence. He claimed to be better than Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, for he was created from fire and Adam alayhi salam was created from clay, from earth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cursed him, Satan, and that he would he was expelled from paradise, and he would have that condemnation until the day of judgment. Satan asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to delay his end until the day of judgment, and when he was granted that, he took he swear by God's glory, swear by God's glory that he will certainly mislead them all. He will mislead all human beings. Now, except your chosen servants among them. إلا عبادك منهم المخلصين. I'm going to shuttle between Surah Yusuf and Surah Sad, just so that, just listen. كذلك نصرف عنه السوء والفحشاء إنه من عبادنا المخلصين. إنه من عبادنا المخلصين. That's in Surah Yusuf. In Surah Sad, إلا عبادك منهم المخلصين. So the say Satan could not really tempt, could not mislead this category, those servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who were very sincere, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had chosen. إلا عبادك من المخلصين. And Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam was described, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described them, إنه من عبادنا المخلصين. So Satan could not have misled him at all. This is the integrity. The integrity of the prophets in Islam, in the Qur'an, is very, very essential. Infallible, no grave sins. There could be judgmental mistakes. There could be, or khilaf al-awla, one might say the second best choice of action. But nowhere in the Quran ever a prophet committed a grave sin, which is this is in contrast to the biblical story. One can talk about comparing other things really between the biblical story and the Quranic story. Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam himself was only worried about the faith of his children. So he ultimately they asked him to forgive them, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive them. And he told them that he will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive them. He did not immediately say, oh Allah, forgive them. they were definitely not the, I mean, during that period of jealousy, let's say, they were not the nicest kids to their father. At any rate, when he was about to die, Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam, he asked them whom you will worship, and they said, "We'll worship the God of your fathers, Ibrahim and Ishaq alayhim salam." Uh, um, they were included, of course. That's their line. Ismail alayhi salam is amongst their fathers. آباء أو إلهك وإله آبائك. The there is no wrestling story as in the biblical story. Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam wrestles with God, and he forces God, Astaghfirullah al-Azim, to bless him. This is how he became Israel. I don't know about the source of such stories. In fact, maybe it's now appropriate to go back to the very beginning of the surah, where it speaks about the Qur'an being a revealed book in Arabic. This is something إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا الْقُرْآنَ عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. And I will only share what is the introduction, the commentary about إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا الْقُرْآنَ عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ in Tafsir Ibn Kathir. There's a beautiful paragraph there that I would like to share with you, and I will end with this paragraph so that we might, inshallah, at the beginning of the next session, we'll start with Surah Al-Ra'd directly. He, in the Tafsir Ibn Kathir, he said as a commentary about إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا الْقُرْآنَ عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. He said وذلك لأن لغة العرب أفصح اللغات وأبينها وأوسعها وأكثره تأدية المعاني التي تقوم بالنفوس. He said because the language of the Arab is the most eloquent of languages, the clearest, and it's the widest. Obviously, this is about the vocabulary and in conveying meaning. Arabic has millions of vocabulary compared to almost 500,000 in English, 150,000 in French. I have always been fascinated by, in English you say 90, in Arabic you say 90, in French you'd say 90, 4 20s and 10 to make them 90 at any rate. And there are studies about people who are exposed to such elaborate languages that it does influence their ability to be creative, and you'd be surprised that we have, for example, few hundred names of the lion. But the paragraph has the following couple of lines. فلهذا أنزل أشرف الكتب بأشرف اللغات. It's for this that, meaning أنزل, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the most honorable of books, meaning the revealed books, in the most honorable of languages. بأشرف الوقت أشرف الكتب. Just remember the word أشرف. The most honorable books in the most honorable of languages, to the most honorable messenger, with the conveyed by the most honorable of the angels, in the most honorable of lands on earth, meaning Mecca, and began its revelation in the most honorable of the months of the year, which is Ramadan. Thus, it was complete, perfected from all aspects. It's an amazing paragraph. And the meaning, it began basically by addressing the Prophet ﷺ, and then the story of Sayyidina Musa ﷺ, that the other prophets, had they existed at the time of Prophet ﷺ, including Sayyidina Musa ﷺ, they would have no choice except to follow him, to follow Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, to believe in him. Thus, there is no need and no benefit from using the available books that are in the hands of the people of the book, because of the possibility of accepting something as true when it's false, and we have given ample examples, or rendering something false while it is true. At any rate, there is a story of Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab came with a manuscript of a folio or something from the people of the book, صحيفة, and the Prophet ﷺ told him, أَنْتُمْ تُهَوِّكُونَ فِيهَا يَا ابْنَ الْخَطَّابِ. Had Musa alayhi salam, of course, had he been amongst us, he would have no choice except to follow me. With this, inshallah, we again, I don't know why Imam Al-Ghazali did not select anything from Surah Yusuf alayhi salam. I hope that we have covered a couple of important issues in this surah. Beautiful story and beautiful chapter indeed. Until the next session, inshallah, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.